Hi, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an eBay book haul. Whenever I can, if I can find books cheaper through there, I go there, and I had a lot of books accumulated on there that I wanted to get, so still waiting on a couple more. But this isn't really middle grade, so I want to show it first. But it's Jane Eyre by Sharon Bronte, and I've always wanted this edition, or these editions, and it was $4 on there. So I got it. It's just beautiful, so I wanted to share that. I've mentioned this before, and some of these I still have stickers I need to get off. But the Kingdom and Empire series, I think it's called. The first book is Bronte Middlestone by Jaclyn Moriarty. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and I like to collect all the editions. And I think the only ones I don't have were the first two Australian, because they're just so expensive. But I found this on eBay for $10, and like everywhere else it's like $35 or more. So I was so happy. Still gotta get the sticker off, like I said. So happy I found this. Now I think I just need the Whispering Wars in the Australian edition. So happy I found that. And then I found the first book of this. I don't know if it's just going to be a duology or a series. I know there's a second book, but the Nelig Stones by Sharon. And there's illustrations. Stephanie and Robbie aren't friends. In fact, they can barely stand each other. But when they find themselves magically transported to a land where dragons rule and fairies carry swords, their only way back home is to work together and find the 5 magical talismen known as the Nelig Stones. The Dark Dragon, Ashkel, and his villainous advisor, Greenback, are also searching for the powerful Nelig Stones and plan to use their magic to usurp the Eyrean throne and seize control of the realm. Their perilous adventure, and with the help of some unusual companions, Stephanie and Robbie learn that things aren't always what they seem, that inner strength and friendship are mighty powers that can stand against even the darkest magic, and that home, while not always perfect, may not be such a bad place after all. Sounds so good. I've had my eye on this for a while, so I'm glad to have the first book. And then Open If You Dare by Middleton. And also a lot of these, like especially the hardcovers, it's like they're $4 or under, like what I paid. And if they come library, that means they'll have this plastic around them, and I just cut it off, and then it's like a brand new book underneath because the plastic protected them for the most part. And I usually only get like very good or like new condition, depending on who the seller is. I'll get good if it's the only thing I can find for the best price, and I make sure to read what they did write about it to make sure that it's something I would be willing to get. And usually even good is good enough. Like Birdie Adams didn't have enough problems this summer, but Birdie's Birdie, and if a long buried box has Open If You Dare written on its lid, then Birdie and her best friends Allie and Rose are going to open it. And now, along with everything else that's going on, Allie's pitching slump, Rose's banishment to Britain, and Birdie's annoying younger sister being, annoying, the best friends are caught up in solving a mystery planted by a dead girl 40 years ago. So it sounds like a good summer read, good mystery. Very intrigued by that. So excited to have that. And like, this isn't even cracked, like it's never been read. So I love that. The Last Grand Adventure by Rebecca Behrens. This will be a good another summer read option, it sounds like. It's the summer of love, 1967, and 12-year-old Bee's world has been shaken up. Her mother is off in San Francisco, and her father is remarried, adding a stepmom and younger stepsister to the mix. So when her grandmother, Pidge, moves to a new retirement community, Bee agrees to visit. But it turns out Pidge isn't interested in settling in. What she really wants is to hop a train to Atchison, Kansas, where she believes she'll be reunited with her long-missing sister, the legendary Amelia Earhart. At first, Bee thinks her grandmother's plan sounds a little crazy. But Pidge does have 30 years of mysterious letters written in Neely's unmistakable voice, all promising to reunite. This journey might be just the adventure Bee needs. Letters in hand, Bee and Pidge set off on their quest. But getting halfway across the country by plane, train, and automobile proves far more of an adventure than either bargained for. And their search leads to surprising truths about their family and each other. A summer adventure trip with the grandmother just sounds so heartwarming. This is a series I've been looking at for a long time, and the first book I found for a great price. It's the Royal Institute of Magic series. This is Elizabeth's Legacy by Victor Kloss. 2 years after his parents' sudden disappearance, Ben Greenwood stumbles upon a cryptic letter that could shed some light on their whereabouts. But before he can track them down, he'll need to find the mysterious organization that sent the letter, the Royal Institute of Magic. To succeed, Ben will have to navigate a land filled with fantastic creatures and spell shooters, where magic can be bought and sold, to unravel an ancient family secret that could hold the key to defeating an evil The Institute has been fighting for the last 500 years. I think this is a longer series too, which I always love, so I'm happy to have the first book finally. And then Searching for Lottie by Susan L. Ross. How could a girl like that simply vanish? 12-year-old Charlie's great aunt Lottie was once a young and talented violin soloist in Europe, but Lottie's life, once so full of promise, was upended by the Nazis at the start of World War II, and no one ever heard from her again. When Charlie decides to research Lottie's life for a school project, Charlie's mom gently warns her not to be too optimistic that she'll discover anything new about Lottie's fate. Lottie was Jewish and almost certainly perished in the Holocaust, but the more Charlie digs into her family's past, the more confusing Lottie's story becomes. Could it be that Lottie somehow survived the war by hiding in Hungary? Could she even still be alive today? A long-lost cousin, a mysterious necklace, an old diary, a beloved grandmother, and a surprising helping hand from her brother Jake all lead Charlie to a new truth about her namesake and her own musical path in this intriguing intergenerational mystery. A mystery, and also Jewish story and Holocaust. Just important read. It sounds like. I'm very happy to have that. I've been wanting this book for so long. Years. So I'm so happy I finally got it. The Darkness in Lee's Closet and the Others Waiting There by Roy Schwartz. Lee just wants her dad back, but the land of the dead is a dangerous place. When her father dies, Lee's life is torn apart. The only comfort she finds is in the complete darkness of her closet, where she sleeps at night. When she discovers the darkness leads to the afterlife, she hatches a plan to find her dad and bring him back home. With the help of 4 very talkative, very dead companions she finds trapped in the darkness, she sets off on a quest through the afterworlds. But a little live girl does not belong there. Lee will have to face frightening dangers and use all of her courage and cunning if she wishes to save her father, her friends, and herself. It sounds so good. And then Last of the Name by Roseanne. Parry. April 1863. 12-year-old Danny O'Carolan arrives in New York City with nothing but his father's songs, his brother's dancing steps, and his only remaining relative, his older sister Kathleen. Driven from their home in Ireland, they must find work or they'll end up at the dreaded orphans asylum. But there's no steady work for boys except joining the Union Army as a drummer. So Kathleen finds a job in domestic service for herself and her younger sister. Danny reluctantly pretends to be a girl to avoid the workhouse and the battlefield, but when he's not doing the back-breaking work of a housemaid, he sneaks off without his disguise. Roaming the streets of New York, he discovers how many different kinds of people live in its neighborhoods. Irish, German, and Italian immigrants, as well as free black people, all poor, all competing for the same jobs, all softened, Danny finds, by a song and a bit of footwork. But the draft is on the horizon, threatening to force more Irishmen into the army. As tensions threaten to spill over into violence, how can Danny, the last bearer of the O'Carolan name, stay true to his family's legacy and find a safe place to call home? I'm just so intrigued by this, and it just sounds like a very important story, and so happy to have it. And then The Wild Book by Juan Villoro. This is a naked hardback. 13-year-old Juan Summer is off to a terrible start. First, his parents separate. Then, almost as bad, Juan is sent away to his strange Uncle Tito's house for the entire break. This is another great summer option, sounds like. Who wants to live with an oddball recluse with his zigzag eyebrows, drinks 15 cups of smoky tea a day, and lives inside a huge, mysterious library? As Juan adjusts to his new life among teetering, dusty shelves, he notices something odd. The books move on their own. He rushes to tell Uncle Tito, who lets his nephew in on a secret. Juan is a princeps reader, which means books respond magically to him, and he's the only one who can find the elusive, never-before-read Wild Book. But will Juan and his new friend Catalina get to the Wild Book before the wicked story-stealing pirate book does? Very intrigued. So excited. And then Cake by Joyce Magnan. More than frosting filled those cakes. Wilma Sue seems destined to go from one foster home to the next, until she is sent to live with sisters and missionaries, Ruth and Naomi. Do they really care about Wilma Sue, or are they just looking for a Cinderella-style farmhand to help raise chickens and bake cakes? As Wilma Sue adjusts to her new surroundings and helps deliver special cakes, she realizes there's something strange going on. Wilma Sue starts looking for secret ingredients, and along the way she makes a new friend, Penny. When Penny and her mother hit a rough patch, Wilma Sue decides to make her own version of a cake, with disastrous results. Then tragedy strikes the chickens, and all fingers point to Wilma Sue, just when she was starting to believe she could at last find a permanent home with Ruth and Naomi. Will the sisters turn her out, or will she discover what it feels like to be truly loved? We'll have some magic and some food, and it just sounds so heartwarming. And then Friend Droid, True Friends, One's a Robot by M.M. Vaughan. Danny's a kid. Eric's a kid too, and also a robot, but he doesn't know that. For Danny, it becomes hard to ignore how strange Eric is. He has weekly dentist appointments, and parents who never stop smiling. He's virtually unwakeable and receives fancy gifts from his uncle. Danny figured Eric was a spoiled rich kid until he discovers Eric's hidden robotic reality. As the two friends dig deeper into Eric's origins and purpose, powerful forces swarm into town, and Danny and Eric are left with more questions than answers, and more danger than humanly possible. So intrigued by this. It just sounds so good. And it sounds like another good summer option. And it's by the same author as another summer book earlier. Summer of Lost and Found by Rebecca Behrens. Eyre was looking forward to a summer of fun in New York City with her best friend, but that was before her father abruptly leaves town, leaving no clues as to where he went or why, and Nell's mom drags her all the way to Roanoke Island for a research trip. Suddenly, Nell's summer looks like it might be the worst summer ever. Once on the island, Nell meets Ambrose, a mysterious historical reenactor her age, and it doesn't take long for her to become enthralled with the mysteries of Roanoke. They start exploring the island for clues as to what really happened to the lost colonists, trying to stay clear of Lila, a local girl who knows everything about the area's history and makes it clear that Roanoke is her territory. As Nell and Ambrose find more and more evidence about the lost colony, it becomes clear that someone, or something, is keeping watch over their quest for answers. Nell discovers that the key to the lost colony is closer than she ever could have imagined. It's a good summer mystery. And then I had Snowstruck, I think it was called. It's Nick Courage's new release, and I'd been wanting this one, his first release, for a long time, so I got it. Stormblown by Nick Courage. Little rain and wind, don't worry. Oh, Alejo. And they're just part of life at the beach. As his Padrino says, as long as there are birds in the waves, it's safe. When people start evacuating, though, Alejo, I think I'm saying that right, realizes that things might be worse than he thought. And they are. A hurricane is headed straight for Puerto Rico. Emily's brother Elliot has been really sick. He can't go outside their New Orleans home, so Emily decides to have an adventure for him. She's on a secret mission to the tiny island Elliot loves. She's not expecting to meet an injured goose or a shy turtle, and nothing has prepared her for a mega storm Valerie. I don't know if it's summer, but it sounds like a great summertime read. Hurricanes usually end of summer. Well, it depends on where you live, but I was feeling all the summer books. Summer Lost by Ali Condell. It's been a year since the devastating car accident that killed Cedar's father and younger brother Ben, but now Cedar and what's left of her family are spending the summer in her mother's hometown of Iron Creek and trying to mend their broken pieces. Memories surround Cedar, including strange gifts that begin to appear in the night, the type of small household items her brother Ben used to collect. Until one day a boy named Leo, dressed in costume, rides by on his bike, and everything about Cedar's summer changes. Soon Cedar not only has a job working at the renowned Summer Lost Theater Festival, but also a growing friendship with Leo that will blossom as they piece together clues about the short and tragic life of one of Iron Creek's most famous residents. Sounds like a great read. Emotional. And Counting to Perfect by Suzanne on the Floor. Just looks like a summer read. Already. Cassie, competitive swimmer and rising 7th grader, plans to spend her summer at the pool with her friends. That way she won't be stuck at home with her sister and her sister's baby. Julia used to be the perfect big sister. She played great games and took good care of Cassie. Now life at home revolves around Julia and her daughter Addie. No one pays much attention to Cassie, not to her swimming, and not to what's gone wrong with her friends. When Julia confides in Cassie that she'll be leaving with Addie without telling their parents, Cassie jumps in the car too. As the days of lumberjack breakfasts and hotel pools start to add up, Cassie has to wonder, could the sister who seems to be the source of all her problems also be the friend she missed the most? I have a good sister story. This sounds like an incredible read. You'll like it here. Everybody does. By Ruth White. Maggie Blue seems like an average kid with a regular family, a mother, a brother, a grandfather. But after the Blues' neighbors come in the night to terrorize them and they flee in an unusual way, it becomes clear that all is not as it seems. After escaping their attackers, the Blues arrive in a place called Fashion City. Fashion City is clean and safe, happy and peaceful. You'll like it here. Everybody does. The Blues are told again and again. But when they are befriended by another Fashion City family, they begin to learn some frightening truths about this supposedly utopian spot. The city is controlled by the fathers. Everyone must dress in drab colors. Those who disobey the rules are arrested for being grossly unique. Then Gramps is taken for the crime of growing old and whisked away for vacation 75. Will the Blues be able to rescue Gramps and escape Fashion City before it's too late? I'm so intrigued. This just sounds like such a unique story, and I'm so happy to have it. And then I got a trilogy. The second book isn't here yet, but I got the first and third book. Balance Keeper series. This is The Fires of Calderon by Lindsey Cummings. And the third book is The Traitor of Beltral. There are many strange creatures in Albert Flynn's new home at the center of the earth, but none are as awesome as Albert himself. He learned he's a balance keeper, someone with special magical skills for fixing problems in 3 underground realms. His new job in the Corps is important. If the realms of Traitor, Beltral, or Pondere fall out of balance, the world above could be in great danger. Albert and his balance keeper teammates Bertie and Leroy arrive in the Corps not a moment too soon. There's an imbalance in Traitor that's threatening to bury New York City in a mountain of ash. They must train hard if there's any hope of restoring the balance. They must also harness the power of their tiles, unique superpowers given to each balance keeper. Bertie and Leroy have their powers down, and much to their dismay, so does Hoyt, their arch rival in the training competitions. Albert's mastered the art of not mastering his tile. With the situation in Calderon growing worse every day, can Albert, Leroy, and Bertie restore balance before New York is destroyed forever? Will Albert master his tile before it's too late? He sounds so fast-paced, like such a great adventure, so happy. And The House on Hummingbird Island by Sam Angus. So beautiful. Heidi Grace is 12 when she inherits a grand house on a Caribbean island and is sent away from gray old England to a place where hummingbirds hover and monkeys clamber from tree to tree. As a lady of property, Heidi can do as she pleases, so she fills the house with exotic animals, keeps her beloved horse in the hall, and carries a grumpy talking cockatoo called Homer on her shoulder. But her island home holds as many secrets as it does animals, and the truth behind Heidi's inheritance is the biggest secret of all. She's the island and it's kind of like a summer read too. And then I had one in a giveaway, the Tiltersmith, I think it was, and from what I'm understanding, that's like a sequel or part of this world, companion or something to The Time Fletch by Amy Herrick, so I wanted to get this too. On his way to school, Edward picks up what he thinks is a rock. He doesn't know that it's really a sleeping time fetch, and touching it will release its foragers too soon and alter the entire fabric of time and space. Soon the bell rings to end class just as it's begun. Buses race down the streets, too far behind schedule to stop for passengers. Buildings and sidewalks begin to disappear as the whole fabric of the universe starts to unravel. Only Edward and his classmates, Phoenix, Danton, either Brigitte or Bridget, who have also touched the time fetch, can see what's happening. The fetch has drawn them together in a strange and thrilling adventure in which the boundaries between worlds and dimensions are blurred, and places and creatures on the other side are much likely the ones they've always known, but slightly twisted, a little darker, and much more dangerous. Sounds fantastic. And then The Scorpions of Sahir by Kristen Burdine Jones. "11-year-old Zagora Pym has always dreamed of becoming a desert explorer, and now she's on her way to Morocco. Her father, renowned archaeologist Dr. Charles Pym, has received a mysterious letter from his partner, Pitblade Yegan, who was lost and presumed dead on their last expedition. Yegan is alive and he needs Dr. Pym's help. Once Zagora, her father, and her astronomy-obsessed brother Duncan reach Morocco, they find themselves embroiled in a heart-stopping quest filled with enchanted oryxes and ravenous hyenas, prophetic glyphs, and a rogue planet moving closer to Earth. And with the help of members of the Azimuth tribe, the Pym family takes on the challenges of a punishing land to keep a sacred city from being buried forever." It's such an intriguing synopsis. So happy to finally have it. Duology I've been wanting for a while, or is this just currently a duology? And this is the same author as another book, because I recognize that name. Suzanne Lafleur. The first book is Beautiful Blue World. Threads of Blue, and this one's a naked hardback. Whatever happens, I'll be with you. Sufferin is at war. For 12-year-old Mathilde, it means food shortages, feuding neighbors, and bombings. Even so, as long as she and her best friend Megs are together, they'll be all right. But the army is recruiting children and paying families well for their service. If Megs takes the test, Mathilde knows she will pass. Megs hopes the army is the way to save her family. Mathilde fears it might separate them forever. This moving and suspenseful novel is a brilliant reimagining of war, where even kindness can be a weapon, and children have the power to see what adults cannot. Ugh. And then a trilogy, the Thrones and Bones series by Lou Anders. The first book is Frostborn, and Nightborn, and Skyborn. Antics and hair-raising escapades abound in this Viking-inspired fantasy adventure as two unlikely companions forge a friendship and journey to unknown territory. Their plan to save their families from harm. It's really the only synopsis it gives. But I'm so excited. These just sound so up my alley. And then City of Fire by Lawrence Yep. When her older sister dies trying to prevent the theft of one of her people's great treasures, 12-year-old Skyri sets out to avenge her and recover the precious item. Helping her are Bei Yang, a dragon disguised as a Pinkerton agent, Leech, a boy with powers he has not yet discovered, and Leech's loyal companion, Coco, who has a secret of his own. All have a grudge against the thieves who stole the treasure, the evil dragon, Badek, and the mysterious Mr. Roland. Sky and her companions pursue the thieves to Hulani, a new Hawaiian island being created by magic. There they befriend Pil, the volatile and mercurial goddess of volcanoes. But even with Pil on their side, they may not yell to stop Mr. Roland from gaining what he seeks, the 5 lost treasures of Emperor Yu. Together they will give him the power to alter the very fabric of the universe. Sounds so amazing. The one I've been wanting for years now. Coriander by Sally Gardner. Cover. A parcel was left outside our garden gate. Inside was the most beautiful pair of silver shoes. Can I put them on? I said. I think not, said my mother quietly. I'm sorry, Coriander, but these shoes are not for you. Let that be an end to it. An end it was not. It was the beginning. With these silver shoes that seemed to call her name, Coriander is briefly transported to a magical world. But when she returns to London, her mother suddenly and mysteriously dies. Her father disappears, and she is left to suffer the relentless wrath of her evil stepmother. Then Coriander finds herself locked in a chest with no hope of escape and no will to survive. But when a bright light beckons to her, it is then that Coriander's journey truly begins. How amazing does that sound? And Days of the Dead by Kirsten Hamilton. Beautiful. Like I said, I still have stickers to get off. But Glorieta Magdalena Davis Espinosa is happy that Poppy married Alice. She's happy that he can smile again after years of mourning Mama. But the urn containing Mama's ashes disappeared in her drawer the day Alice moved in. If everything about Glorieta's life is going to change, then she wants one thing to go her way. She wants to hear stories about her mama when the family gathers on the last night of Los Dias de los Muertos. And that can only happen if Tia Diosonita will allow Mama to be buried with the Espinosas in holy ground. If she will allow people to speak Mama's name. With the help of her best friend River and her cousin Mateo, Glorieta sets out to convince Diosonita that Mama is not burning in hell. To do so, she'll have to learn to let hate go and to love the people who stand in her way. This sounds like it's going to be like an emotional, very gripping story. Very excited for that. It's duology. I think it's just going to be a duology. I have been wanting for so long. A modern day retelling of Hansel and Gretel. The Witch's Guide to Cooking with Children by Keith McGowan. I mean, with a title like that. There's illustrations. The second book's a little bit bigger. The Witch's Curse. And this one says, based on a Brothers Grimm story. When Sol and Connie Blink moved to Grand Creek, one of the first people to welcome them is an odd older woman, Faye Holliday, and her friendly dog Swift, who carries a very strange bone in his mouth. Sol knows a lot more than the average 11-year-old, so when he identifies the bone as a human femur, he and Connie begin to wonder if their new neighbor is up to no good. In a spine-tingling adventure that makes them think twice about who they can trust, Sol and Connie discover that dangerous secrets lurk in even the most pleasant neighborhoods. And then lastly, this has another cover that I absolutely love too, but this one is my favorite, and it's done by one of my favorite illustrators of all time, who also did the School for Good and Evil series, Iacopo Bruno. Still don't know if I'm saying that first name right. The Ghost in the Glass House by Carrie Wallace. So beautiful. In a 1920s seaside resort town, 12-year-old Claire discovers a mysterious glass house in the backyard of her new summer home. Summer. There she falls in love with Jack, the ghost of a boy who can't remember who he was before he died. Their romance is a haven for her from the cruel pranks of her society friends, especially her best friend Bridget, who can't wait to grow up and embark on her own romances. But wary of the juvenile behavior of her parents, Claire isn't sure she wants to become a woman. Her deepest wish is to return to her childhood home. Since her father's death 3 years ago, she and her mother haven't been back. As Claire begins to suspect an affair between her mother and Bridget's father, she retreats to the glass house. But the glass house begins to crack when she realizes that Jack has lied to her about his name. It says that, I guess it's an innocent type of love, because it's listed as middle grade, and in the first sentence, Claire Fitzgerald had seen so much in the 12 short years of her life. So, she's 12, so it's a 12-year-old kind of love, I'm guessing. But this just sounds so good. Alright, y'all, that's it. And if any more, when the other ones come in, I'll just edit that in. Okay, 2 more of my eBay books came in. This is the Mirror Chronicles by Ian Johnstone. First book is The Bell Between Words, and then Circles of Stone. Half of your soul is missing. Unless Silas Tate fulfills his destiny, you will never be whole again. Silas leads a lonely existence as his mother died, but then the tolling of a giant bell draws him into another world, where he discovers not only that he has an inborn talent for magic, but also that his mother might have come from this strange parallel place. As violence looms and the stakes get higher, Silas embarks on an extraordinary adventure to uncover the greatest mystery of all, who he is. If he fails, the entire universe may fall. These sound so good. So happy to have them. It's Broken Strings by Eric Walters and Kathy Kaser. It's one I've been wanting for a while. It's 2002. In the aftermath of the Twin Towers and the death of her beloved grandmother, Shirley Berman is intent on moving forward. The best singer in her junior high, she auditions for the lead role in Fiddler on the Roof, but is crushed to learn that she's been given the part of the old Jewish mother rather than the coveted part of the sister. But there is an upside. Her husband is none other than Ben Morgan, the cutest and most popular boy in the school. Deciding to throw herself into the role, she rummages in her grandfather's attic for some props. There she discovers an old violin in the corner. Strange, since her Zadie doesn't seem to like music, and he's never even been to any of her recitals. Showing it to her grandfather unleashes an anger in him she has never seen before. And while she is frightened of what it might mean, Shirley keeps trying to connect with her Zadie and discover the awful reason behind his anger, until finally a long-kept family secret spills out, and Shirley learns the true power of music, both terrible and wonderful. Sounds like an important read, and I just love, I don't want to say love reading books like this, but I always feel like I learned something I didn't know before, and they're important to read. Like I've always said, you don't need to shy away or forget history. It's just not right. You gotta keep learning, and so can't wait to read this. Did you see any that you're interested in now? Have you read any of these before? Did you like them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. A lot of good summer options, it sounds like, in here. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Well, today's video shirt is a bunch of Nickelodeon. If you'd like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.